Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast and welcome to episode 444. So this is a slightly different episode. We are still releasing, as you'll see, the normal episode for the week. So never fear. There will be also a regular episode. But in this one, this is me kind of sharing a little bit more personal of a share about 2024, about the business changes, what you can expect, what's been going on behind the scenes. I have had a lot of people reach out and just checking in, making sure I'm doing okay, inquiring about, future group programs and different things. And I just wanted to create this episode of really what's on my heart, what's been going on, what I've been going through for those of you that are interested. And if that's not your cup of tea, as I said, there's a regular episode drop this week, so you can tune into that one for your regular type episodes. So first and foremost, I don't have a big plan of how I'm going to share all this, what I want to say. I am going to talk about what you can expect in the business upcoming in 2025 if you have been called to be in my world, to work with me in some capacity, that type of thing, or if you're just interested. But first, I want to share a little bit about 2024 and how I truly feel like there was something about this year that humbled me. And it wasn't really that like a bunch of bad stuff happened and I was humbled, but this was truly a year of breaking shit down. And what do you really want, Talia? Like, what do you want to make of this life? And in this year, I had pain flare-ups that were the worst ever. I had places where I felt totally lost. I had many times in business where I had no clue what I wanted to put out, what my community wanted, what would feel aligned, the things I was doing. A lot of things weren't working anymore as far as they didn't feel as aligned for me anymore. I also had things that in my business I kept sort of in some ways trying to do, but it really didn't pan out, meaning like it wasn't very successful. People weren't super interested. And so there was a lot of like questioning myself. So this is kind of more a personal share. I'm not so much teachy, but maybe that happened to you. Maybe there were things that you did that didn't pan out the way you thought, or things that maybe even you created, or realizations that you weren't feeling fulfilled, or you weren't totally being authentic, or maybe just life smacked you sideways and you feel maybe humbled as well. But it was a year of crashing down what no longer aligned and having me go much deeper into things like trust, faith, self-love, the healing work, acceptance, surrender, like really big things that were really, really hard. So in my health and in my body and that type of thing, health isn't so much, health is always the focus, but I deal, for any of you that are super new, I deal with ongoing chronic pain, which has been since I was 12 years old. I've recently realized in this year through the rock bottoms that it's, maybe the connective tissue part I realized maybe a couple years ago. But I've dove deeper this year into fascia and how fascia holds the memory in your body. It holds the emotions in your body. Also how fascia is everywhere. It's the connective, or it's in and around everything. It is different from your muscles. And I realized that I had a lot going on, a lot of internal stored trauma. So even though I'm all productive and the wisdom of the universe flows through me and all this good stuff, I'm still a human on a healing journey, healing from trauma, abandonment, the shit that's happened in my life, the letdowns, the crap, right? From when I was a kid, from when I was a teenager, the bullying. I've been through so much in my life, as I'm sure you have, that this year it was like everything came to light that I had been avoiding, or it's kind of like I'd done a certain amount of growth and they're like, okay, time to go to that nittier, grittier stuff. And so even through my pain healing journey, I had some of the worst pain flare-ups I've ever had that led me to really dark places, like really dark feelings of like, is this really what life is about? And if I'm going to be in chronic pain all the time, is this even what I want to do? Like, is my life worth living? And don't be worried about me. I'm okay. I wasn't, too far down that road, but that feeling when you're like, is this it? Is this all there is? Like, I'm sick of struggling, but I'm also sick of chasing something different. There was just so many realizations this year as I grew as a person. So partly why I'm sharing this is to say that, even through these really rough times, maybe you dealt with grief, you dealt with letdowns, or maybe there was a whole bunch of success in 2024, but maybe internally you are relating to some of these things I'm saying. It's because we're growing, right? We're on a growth journey. So through all these things, I've uncovered a lot about myself, and I've uncovered a lot of what I thought I should be doing versus what truly lights me up in my soul, whether it's business or health or everything, really looking at who I am and how to live a life of true fulfillment. In this year, in 2024, I did a lot deeper healing from all this crap that happened. I went way deeper into my education and healing of my nervous system. I feel totally different than before when the year began, because that was something that I was totally missing. I had no real clue about the nervous system and trauma on that level. So there was a lot of, personal growth and advancements in that way. But all of it didn't leave me at the end of the year with this excited, overflowing, like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to make so much money, or I'm going to be all this and this and this. I actually ended 2024 going, okay, if this is all there is, how do I make the most of it? If there is no chasing, if there is no obsessing over, when this happens, I'll be happy, or when this happens, I'll be successful. If this is what it is, what truly makes me feel fulfilled? What do I want to be doing? How much is in my hands as far as the stress I carry, the stress I hold, the stories about, struggle and all of this. And so ending the year, it was like, I don't really give a shit about what I'm accomplishing. I want to show up for me like I never have before. Instead of being my best self, I want to focus on being the best to myself, even deeper, because I have moved mountains this year in the way that I talk to myself, in the compassion I hold for myself. I'll even say things to my husband about like, wow, this thing, didn't sell, nobody bought it or something. And I'll say out loud, I'm like, I'm not going to shame myself. And I wonder what happened there. I wonder, what it was that didn't land, or maybe it's my energy, or maybe it's the world is changing, the market's changing, etc. I've said to myself so many times, I'm not going to shame myself. I didn't do a workout. I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. I'm not going to shame myself, because that's what it's become. The best to myself, not the best self, not just perfect all the time, the best to myself. And so as I start this year, yes, there are goals and ideas that I have on my mind, but first and foremost, I am coming home to me. I am building myself up. I have the tools and I'm ready to practice it even deeper and watching where that takes me, as opposed to just having goals and going, how do I get these goals? I want to be the best to myself along the way. I want to nourish myself to my goals. So why I'm sharing all this is because it's been a really hard year. There have been a lot of perceived failures, letdowns, shit that did not go the way I planned, pain flare-ups when I'm going, what the hell? Like I'm literally doing everything I need to do or everything I know to do. Why isn't this changing? Why isn't this over here changing? Why isn't that over there changing? And really coming back into what about the now? What can I do in this moment? What can I be grateful for in this moment? How can I show up for myself right now? What are those things that my intuition has been calling me to do that I haven't been doing, and instead looking everywhere else for the answer, right? So in this year, I want to be the most authentic me. I want to be so lit up from the inside that that's where I share from. In my business, that's where I uncover answers or, things that help me in my healing journey. I want to do it from authenticity, from being really real. So that leads me to the business. And we have got some massive changes and a lot of it is unknown. So I'm just going to preface that with, I'm not going to lay out a big business plan that I have going and what's going to happen every month, because it's the opposite of that. It's actually, I have no fucking clue what's going to happen in this year. I feel like the podcast is going to stay and On the Path is going to stay because I'm obsessed and I love it and it lights me up and it seems to really serve everybody. But I don't know. I've been doing for 9 years, I've been in business and I've been doing things like group programs forever. And it used to feel really good. And it used to sort of quote unquote sell in some ways, not no problem, but you know, I felt like you guys were really interested. The community was really wanting to take a 6-week program on self-love or building your intuition or manifestation or something like Activated. And over the last few years, there's been less and less interest in that. And I think straight up, the market's changed, but more than the market's changed, we've changed. I personally am not as interested in taking a 10-week or 12-week Zoom course online because everyone's a little bit Zoom fatigued in a lot of ways. And you can obviously speak for yourself. But from what I've seen, people are wanting more intimate transformation. They're wanting deeper connection. I notice that my community and my market, you guys are really wanting that no fluff. Maybe you've taken 1 million online programs and haven't really felt much difference, haven't really felt like it gave you what you wanted. Maybe you've seen out there, you know, this one program is going to solve all your money shit. And then you get into it and you realize it didn't. And it was kind of false advertising, or it just wasn't very high touch. And we've been burned, right? The group programs were a huge thing for a bit, and they still are. Lots of coaches, lots of people are doing them. You can see them everywhere. But I notice with my community, we're growing and we're wanting more deep connection. So I have been called internally because it didn't feel as aligned anymore to show up in that same way that I had been for 9 years. And so I personally have been called, and I'm just completely releasing any kind of group container in that way because, first of all, I don't feel as lit up. Second of all, it doesn't seem to be what you guys want right now. And I don't think it's where my energy is best served or best placed. So for now, my total focus in my personal life and my business is what lights me up, what feels right, what is in service. So just going on what actually lights me the F up right now, the podcasts, both of them. So On the Path is now the only sort of next step that you can go with me unless you're going into one-on-one mentorship. But I have no group programs, no workshops, no nothing coming up. So if you want to go deeper into the work with me, On the Path is the place to do it. So it's a subscription. It's $27 a month, a private podcast where it's education, it's moving you forward, it's bite-sized tools. It also has my entire signature methodology contained within the podcast at the beginning. There are full-on training step by step from deciding what you want, you know, what your next level is, what you want to manifest, what you're stepping into, to healing, reprogramming. We go into inner child healing, subconscious and conscious reprogramming, taking inspired action, manifesting big goals, manifesting abundance. We talk about it all, self-growth and transformation. So that's On the Path. That's like you get everything there, and you can stay as long as you want, cancel at any time, all those things. So in addition to the podcasts that I am intending to keep because they feel really good, I'm finishing up my book. So January 1st, 3 years ago, so 2022, I started my book and it is almost done. The editing process is no joke. It's been years. I'm also creating a companion workbook, more on that as it comes. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to take this space to finish my book. I also have a very secret, I'm going to talk about it here, but I have not talked about it yet. I've got a brand new project coming up. I'll mention it here because I am looking for people to be beta testers where there's no cost. I am asking a group of people to test it out for a month to give me feedback, but I am creating an app and I am so excited. It is a meditation, spiritual and personal growth, mindfulness app like you've never seen. So packed with meditations. There's even background music for journaling. There are mini like blogs where there'll be like 10 journal prompts to start your morning, or an article on intuitive eating, an article on what it means to heal. There's so many different, so you can read, you can scroll instead of being on social media through lots of fun stuff. There are audios for, as I said, meditation, different journeys, healing journeys like inner child. We have background sounds that are to journal to and all of that. And then we also have some audio tracks that are movement. So we combine movement. So going on an intention walk, there are ones where you do squats for 2 minutes while envisioning your highest self, really embodying, bringing exercise into the embodiment. There are movement ones to express and to move emotion through your body that are just lightly guided. There's so much there, and it has been so fun for over 6 months working on this app. So in the very near future, I am going to need a group of beta testers. So for 1 month, you would use the app, of course, free. Use it just as you normally would, and I'll be asking you for feedback on anything. Maybe there's links that don't work, things you love, things that, suggestions you have. I'm really looking for a group of my ideal people in the community to test it out and give me feedback. If you want to test out the app, it'll be within the next month or so that it'll be completely ready to be tested, and I will reach out to you. So you can fill out that form, and if you're willing to help me out, I would be so appreciative. So I've got the app coming. I've got the book. I feel very deeply called to run a virtual retreat this year, the same as or similar to the shift that I did last year, which is a virtual 2-day retreat that is done obviously from home. We have workshops, morning meditations, all the things. So you can just stay posted for that. But the next thing that I know is happening this year is my in-person retreat in the fall of 2025. I do have also a form for that if you want to stay right in the loop, be in the loop right away so that you can get the best pricing and all that as the dates come out, as the location comes out and all that stuff, you can be in the loop. You can put your name down and I will just email you about that stuff when it becomes available. But I am so excited to do in-person retreats. As you may or may not know, it has called me for a really long time, and I'm so excited. This is what I feel like my community is moving into. Maybe not all of you, maybe you do resonate with this, maybe I'm way off base, but I feel like going forward, you guys want deeper connection. So in-person connection, in-person experiences that change you, that shift you, that help you heal and grow. But also you're listening to podcasts. Maybe you have mindfulness apps to keep you on your path. Maybe it's reading books, right? And that's what I really feel called to focus on. So for now, completely dropping group programs, online, 6-week, this and this, unless a huge, I get inspired, I get told by my team at some point. But for now, I'm completely releasing it, working on finishing my book, working on finishing the app, getting that out into the world, and continuing with this podcast as well as on the path. And this all comes from this moment, the tipping point, where the risk to remain tight in a bud was more than it took to blossom. I don't know what my business is going to look like. I don't even know what it's going to look like 6 months from now, but I am taking a leap of faith, going where I feel called, going where my soul is guiding me to go, releasing even when it seems very scary. Like I've been doing these programs forever. So to just give up a huge part of what my business is feels scary. It's income, it's connection, it's making an impact in your lives, it's having things going on, but I have to go with what my heart is calling me to do. And I feel like people like us, there is more progress that we can make and more true transformation when we either look at it like the everyday stuff, the app, the books, the stuff that keeps you on the path, and then the deeper, more meaningful, immersive experiences. Just like a virtual retreat, an in-person retreat on Vancouver Island, ways that connect you deeper, that truly change your life. Because this year is authenticity, it's growth, it's connection, it's really stepping into that next version of who you are. And that's what I'm doing. I'm scared, I'm uncertain, but I'm stepping into this next version of who I am. And since those rock bottoms and since those pain flare-ups, I have found more clarity. I've found more ease in my body. I'm really in this pocket because I started a few months ago with the authenticity thing even deeper. I'm not waiting for the new year. That nudge came a few months ago. So I've been now in it for a couple months of this new mindset. And that's why as January comes now and Momentum Tribe wraps up, which is my last group program, I'm just releasing everything except for those things I mentioned, and going forward in creativity, in what really sparks me. I love writing, I love creating, I love recording, and I'm just going to do what lights me up and trust that the rest will fall into place. So cheers to it all. I'll share more on the journey. If you ever want to hear more about, my body healing journey or whatever it is, you can always write me on Instagram or write me an email. The email's below, or you can hit reply to any email I've ever sent to your inbox. I always want to hear, what you guys want to hear more about. I resist sharing too many personal stories, but then sometimes I have people going, I've been wondering what's been happening with you and your pain healing journey. So if you want to hear, I want to give you guys what you need. So be sure to reach out on Instagram or email. Let me know what you want to hear more of in this upcoming year. I can't wait to serve you through the podcast. I highly recommend joining On the Path if you want to go the next step with me. And keep your eyes open for the retreats. And if you want to be a beta tester for my brand new app, you can also fill out the form below. And if you're looking for personal mentorship in 2025, I am continuing that. I'm so excited to work with my one-on-one clients. It is so fun. I have a brand new container for 2025 called Soul-Led Mentorship, and it's a 2-month container. I am welcoming in new clients now, so you can check the link below as well. You can reach out to me on Instagram or email or anywhere that we connect, and I would love to give you all of the information to see if it is right for you in 2025 and in this time. So keep your eyes open for all the things that I mentioned that resonate with you. You can check in the show notes, and I will definitely see you going forward here still on the podcast, even throughout all the changes. I can't wait to continue showing up for you here. And cheers to 2025. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon.